Let's do the thing. Oh, you know what? We got the wrong music right now. How about a little deep live on Instagram off? Looks like we're good there. Welcome to a muzzled chat. Folks, I'm not going to mess around today. I'm really foggy brain. I ate all the stuff you're supposed to. Holidays got to me. It was amazing to spend some time with family. I sure hope you had a Merry Christmas and got some fun gifts. More importantly, fun memories. I'm just excited to connect with Wendy and Jill today. These are warrior women just doing their due diligence, biohacking, finding real solutions for our health. I'm sure they have individualized stories as to why they took these paths, but with the knowledge they've acquired at this point, I truly do believe will benefit us all. So without further ado, I'm going to invite them in, but I want to plug Wendy's message, a personal message she sent to me this morning regarding today's episode. In her text wrote, quote, "We are going to change lives together with a little heart." Goes to show where these ladies' hearts are at coming into this. And they are solely showing up out of love for all of us. So with that, let's welcome in Wendy and Jill. How you ladies doing today?
Wonderful.
Wonderful. Thanks so much for having us.
It is my pleasure. As of late, especially with coming off of the sniffles and having Lyme disease myself and other things ailing me, I could just feel it. It's like, I don't know, I'm a gearhead, so I apologize, but it's like there's a V8 up there somewhere, but I'm running on like half of the cylinders, and it's embarrassing and very painful to be walking around knowing you're presenting dumber than you actually are, like not having full access to your memory, to your function, to the vocabulary, especially doing something like this. It's very humbling. Mm-hmm. But it's important we challenge ourselves, and it's important that we acknowledge where we're at. Only then will we have the fire to seek the solution. So I'm so grateful for you two reaching out, showing up here today. I know this will be a solution for so many people.
Yeah, it's, and thank you. I know last week we were going to get on and each of us had something that we needed to reschedule, but I know that we're all in a place that we appreciate that of each other. But, we knew that we had such an important message. We wanted to be kind of firing at all cylinders. And, we joked before the show that, I am much calmer than when I talked to Jill an hour, preparing for the show. And it's these supplements that, we're kind of talk about and nutraceuticals. And I'll give a little bit of introduction to anybody that's new. This is not my first time, so thank you for having me on again. It's always a pleasure talking to you and seeing you and representing the Lyme community. So I've been on as a Lyme survivor. I've been on as a health coach. Now I'm on as officially a functional genomics practitioner. So I did my certification. So before I understood how genes worked and studied chronic Lyme, but now I know how the genes function more as a whole. So I can look more at the methylation pathway and see that, people with chronic Lyme, they're not detoxing properly, which, leads me to, meeting someone like Jill that I'll let her introduce herself, but, more to come on that. So it's been this journey. And then, I got in this political world, and I want to throw an update that one of the bills in Pennsylvania did get passed. So now there's going to be legislation that requires the nurses to remove the tick, to have it sent in for testing, to alert the parents. So there's some huge wins coming in the legislation. The SB 100 got put on the table, but it should get put through this coming F25. I have some things I'm working on with some really amazing people at Pennsylvania Lyme Resource Network, as well as some of the different senators in Pennsylvania. So with all things lined up, SB 100, I hope to add some revisions to it based on my personal and professional experience as I am currently battling Lyme disease again.
Wow.
I feel like it's been about a month now. I didn't feel well. I was headed to the museum. I was going to have a great day and, enjoying Pittsburgh, and found myself in my car feeling like I was going to have a heart attack. And I knew what that feeling felt like before. I had some kind of symptoms a few days prior. So I got to the emergency room. All the tests were fine, although I knew what was normal or abnormal based on my experience in genetics. So I pulled my lab up before I even saw a doctor, before I was even seen at the emergency room. I was able to see my lab work, and I advocated for myself and asked them to test me for Lyme disease. And 2 days later, I come back positive. So
Wow.
I knew enough to advocate, but being in a state where we are 11 of 13 years, the highest, the emergency room doctor was going to say I had chest pain and send me home, where I knew I needed to advocate for myself with Lyme. But then here comes the double-edged sword as I go to my family doctor, who by then the Western blot shows that I'm not enough bands positive, but I have some and not enough. And then that goes back to the whole why I advocate federally for congressional hearings, that we need proper testing, we need proper diagnosis. Not only do we need proper treatment, but areas like mine and areas like yours where Lyme is so prevalent, there needs to be more of a protocol in these emergency rooms. And, I know that my body was at a weak state, and I know there were some things going on that put my body in that state. And I'm working on, different aspects of my holistic health as a holistic health coach. But, one of the things that I learned throughout the last few years is really advocating for myself, and, being able to talk to people openly about what I experienced in Lyme disease and what I experienced in, being harmed by pharmaceuticals. I'm just allowed to say that now, but I went on that path and it damaged my liver, and genetically now I know, what things I can tolerate and what things I can't. But my body still has to detox from Lyme. I know I'm prone to chronic Lyme. I know I need to further detox my body. So in the holistic health world, there's these little pockets of people. And then in the post-COVID world, there's these pockets of people that now are like able to talk a little bit. Like, I'm still banned on Twitter, but I have a new account. I probably shouldn't have said that, but I have a new account on there. So being allowed to talk is super cool. So I was on Facebook, and Jill, I did not know her at all, and she made a post that said, "Who's willing to, help make America healthy again in 2025?" And I was like, yes. Me over here, please pick me, right? Yes. I do all of these things to get myself healthy and teach my son about nutrition and education, and it turns out she lives near me. And she's like, "Can we get together for lunch?" And I was like, "Please," and she picked a place, and I looked at the menu and I could eat there. So it was a double bonus. And when she walked in, like, I raised my hand, like it was like one of those shows where you like find your tribe and like you have a hand signal. It was like, oh, finally somebody that I can talk to about my experience. And what a lot of people don't realize is that in Pennsylvania, we were labeled unessential or essential based on what our career was. So as a professional photographer, I was unessential. So I was not allowed to work, but because Governor Wolf said that, I was allowed to get pandemic unemployment, I believe is what they called it. So they gave me some money to compensate. Now, for me, I lost a 6-figure account, and I got paid a couple $100 a month and was labeled unessential. Wow. But then as they started to open up and things started to change and people started to, stand up for themselves, I wasn't allowed in my grocery store because I wouldn't wear a mask. I wasn't allowed to photograph in venues once I was allowed to photograph because I wasn't vaccinated. And it was like, people don't realize that in some places we had to hide. We had to hide. So, now coming out and be able to talk, I met Jill and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, we lived all these things, but her and I come from a mom side. We come from a professional side. We come from understanding how the body works. So we have this professional part. So it's not like, we're just following the crowd. It's like we could see these things from a cellular level and a genetic level, and we could see things that didn't make sense, but we weren't allowed to talk about it. So now being able to talk about it, it's like, okay, let's talk about it. So we had a long lunch, which we ended up moving to another location and had an even longer lunch. But we know that we're going to change lives with being able to share the information we know, because people are, I don't like the word waking up or term waking up, but really that's what it is. It's okay, well, let's look at our food. Let's look at the pharmaceutical industry. Let's look at, for me with the Lyme legislation, insurance companies should cover, but if they cover genetic testing to see what antibiotics you could use, we wouldn't have to get our liver damaged. We wouldn't know ahead of time. So, there's things that we need to start having these honest conversations about, is don't have to continue to be sick. And if there's something missing, advocating. So I kept saying, I need a scientist. I'm not a chemist. I know I have a mineral imbalance. I know my genetics. Like, I literally know how every cell works. So I pull the toxins out. I change my products. Every time people see me, they say I look younger. I'm like, well, good. That's what I do for a living. So I'll take it.
Teach us.
But I need it through food, because I've been harmed by pharmaceuticals. My body's not built that way. So I would go the wrong way. I would go too much in iron, too much in zinc, but I didn't know enough. So once I started talking to Jill, she's like, oh my gosh, I have to tell you about this company and this doctor and this product. And it's been 3 weeks, and I feel, if I didn't have a positive Lyme test showing this bacteria is running around in my body and a few flares here and there, I feel better than I've ever felt, because I've got a dopamine balance. I've got a hormone balance. I've got this vitamin and mineral, but it's coming from nature. So it's not overburdening my body. So I will let Jill kind of talk about, what she does. And she has a group, that she'll share about detoxing. So we know it comes down to what we're putting in our body, whether it's if we're putting toxins or bad food in our body, or if we're putting good food and nutrients in our body, and how we detox. So Jill and I are going to be doing a presentation, online webinar, educational piece. I don't know what to title it just yet. January 15th on methylation and MTHFR, and what that really means to you, and what that function means, and how to properly detox, because there's a lot of information out there, but there are a lot of things that could harm you, but there are a lot of ways that you can do it properly. So I'm going to let Jill talk and share so much, because she's her and the knowledge and the product and everything from Dr. Rom, it is what I was missing. And I'm not saying every person in the Lyme world is missing it, but I'm pretty confident every person does. And I'll kind of let her explain as to why. But as a holistic health coach, we have to have that, the mind, the body, the spirit, and your lifestyle and your habits. So healing is really multifaceted in that, peeling the layers of the onion. But ultimately, if our body's moving, then our brain's going to work, and it's going to help us process some trauma or process our emotions. Or if we're able to get up and move, then we can detox and get the bacteria that we're killing off out of our body. So I'm going to give it to Jill, who, her and I are going to do some live events in the Pittsburgh area, some online events. And if all goes well, maybe we'll travel out to Arizona, or who knows where we'll go. But
come on out.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to hear from Jill. Real quick, Wendy, I just want to thank you. I wouldn't wish Lyme disease on anybody, but we are lucky to have such a strong woman such as yourself. And you have acquired so much knowledge. You're attracting into real solutions. And hence why I'm so excited to hear from Jill. It's literally a place in time. It's like, pinch me. And yes, evil's here. It's unfortunate, but to come to terms with it, we can't bury our heads in the sand.
Right.
And they don't want us well. The censorship proves that. They wouldn't be taking those tyrannical measures if they weren't actively trying to diminish our health, full stop. That tells us everything we need to know.
Yeah.
So we all, in a sense, in the Unmuzzled Chat community, we must take our role serious, and we got to get people onto free speech platforms to even have a proper shot of obtaining the information we need. Some of the things you touch on, Wendy, are so crucial. I would love to move past everyone just fighting for their health and address the roots of the issues, not just within our bodies, but what's causing them. The very let's just say war tactics, because there's so many different angles from our food, our pharmaceuticals, water, air, all the things we've been touching on. And it's important that we gain the momentum to get there. But a lot of us we don't have the bandwidth, the time, the energy, the finances, because these tactics are so impactful. So for the time being, there has to be something to help us get to the place we can address those things. And that's where I feel Jill is crucial. So with that, Jill, run with it. I can't wait to hear what you have to share.
Gosh. I feel like I should have taken notes because I have about 10,000 things running through my head. So thank you so much for having me on. My name is Jill. I didn't start out as somebody who wanted to learn about detox and health and all of these things. I was sort of forced into it for my own family's health. I went to doctor after doctor. I knew what the problem was. I thought I was asking the right questions. But as many of the watchers or viewers are probably thinking, yep, I was gaslit. I was told that, I was wrong. Moms shouldn't be on Google or WebMD. What would I know? Don't confuse my Google search with their years of medical training. And yet I deep down knew that there was something at the root cause of my family's health issues. And as it turns out, it was heavy metals and toxins, and couple that with deficiencies, which I didn't learn about until much later. So I started in the world of detox. I was a mom. I was searching for a detox. I couldn't figure out what was wrong with my own family. So I turned to social media, and I started looking for people of value, people that provided value, people that gave these little nuggets of information that I could pull from and research, because my chiropractor was the first one who said to me, well, they're never going to take you off this medication. Their goal is just to change the variable, and you'll be a pharmaceutical customer for life. And that was my moment of, wait, say that again. And he said it again. And so every time we went there, I would ask another question and I would take a piece of information. And so I learned to look for people that provided value. Conversely, I ended up being a person that provides value now. I'm trying to pay back. So at that point, I meet my business partner, Shanna. We're in a detox group. We're both researchers. We're both looking for answers for our family. And as we think we come across some great information. So we start this Facebook group and we start offering education for free to as many people that want to come in and access it. We have grown that group to over 16,000 people. That means that 16,000 people are looking for some sort of detoxification information, right? Yeah. So that's great. The problem being, we started to detox and we detoxed wrong. And when you detox wrong, you create all sort of a huge cascade of other problems like autoimmune symptoms. So your cellular health declines, your immune health declines, your digestive health declines, and we are detoxing, stripping the minerals from the cells, making our cells less healthy because we're only addressing toxicity. And little did I know that there was also deficiency. And that is where about 4 years ago, my daughter's symptoms came raging back. And I find myself on the phone with the owner of the Root Brands. So if you're hopping onto Google right now, make sure that you stay tuned because you're going to need a referral code. But I meet the owner of the Root Brands. He had been kind of giving me nuggets on Facebook, like, you're doing it wrong, you're detoxing wrong. And I was like, who is this guy? But turns out I message him and I'm like, I think I'm doing it wrong. And he goes, well, I've been waiting for you to realize that. Gets on the phone with me and he's talking to me about detoxification. And he gets in the car. Shanna and I are on the phone with him, and he gets in the car and he's like, I hope you don't mind. We're on our way to a wedding. And he's sitting there with his wife, who happens to be bioscience engineer, Dr. Christina Rahm. Talk about a gift. They had an hour and a half drive to a wedding. And I got to talk to her for an hour and a half about all of the things I had learned, what we were missing, what was failing. And she was the one that started to teach us about, it's not just detoxification. You have to rebuild and protect and support the body. So many people are missing out because they think, oh, I just need to detox. I need to detox the Lyme, the heavy metals, the glyphosate, the mold, the fungus, the yeast, and they forget that you have to re-strengthen and rebuild your body, because the reason those things took over was because you were a weak host to begin with.
Wow.
So that, I always say, detoxification and regeneration.
Oh no, what happened?
Oh no.
Where did she go?
Oh no.
You in. Jill was just catching her stride. I was about to bring us all in because what she was bringing up on the toxicities, the molds, and then it was getting there. I'm over here.
I know she'll be back, but I'll share. Like, I have an infrared sauna, and everyone's like, "Are you using your sauna? Are you using your sauna?" I'm like, "No, I can't. I'm mineral deficient. If I use my sauna, I'm gonna deplete. I need to build up a little bit. Then I can do my sauna. Then I can replenish. But I'm not replenishing from empty. I'm replenishing from having some more gas in the tank, so to speak. So yeah, it's that back and forth of
Oh, she's back.
Ooh, she's back.
But you can finish your point. Yeah, you brought up a really good point where, my goodness, it's like listening to your body.
Right.
It's crazy. We discredit the doctor within us, the doctor around us. Why are we brainwashed and programmed to just blindly entrust like the white lab coat is the solution for it all? Just to listen to ourselves, because it is interesting. I have pushed the infrared sauna to a point at times as I was doing other detoxes. I was just drained, and I could tell I was in a depleted state. But then there's times like when my body naturally, I'm just, let's say, sweating a little more than usual, and I've known like, oh, this is the prime time to hop in, and I do, and my body just does this dump that I just wake up the next day more rejuvenated, more excited. So to listen to ourselves is crucial. Jill, we were so sad to see you pop off because you were just catching your stride, really hitting on some key points like how encompassing the health is and really honing in on setting a proper foundation. So I don't know if you'll be able to just kind of pick up where you got dropped off there.
Sure. I don't know what happened, but I swear sometimes that is by design. I'm not sure. So, and yeah,
feels like it.
Yeah. So we have to be able to rebuild and re-strengthen our body simultaneously while we are detoxing. Right. So I always say we have too many toxicities and too many deficiencies. Toxicities, mold, yeast, fungus, virus, Lyme, bacteria, heavy metals, copper, copper, mercury, gadolinium, all of those toxicities, you name it, whatever toxicity you have. And a lot of people have a lot of co-infections. So it's not just one, it's often not just one. Right. Coupled with deficiencies. Your immune system is not working optimally. Your digestive system is not working optimally. And I forgot parasites in that list of toxicities. So your cellular health is not optimal. So we have to be able to re-strengthen. So we detox at an intracellular level. We rebuild and re-strengthen our body. And that's where the key comes in. That's where the magic comes in. That's where the transformation of people going from bedridden to thriving. That's where that happens. And so what I would love to say is, Wendy is a perfect example. We meet for our 1 hour breakfast that goes 4 hours. And it only ended at 4 hours because I had a call. I was like, oh, that was plenty of time. But I hand her some capsules to take with her. And I'm like, I always keep these in my purse. You should take a few with you. And she texted me a few days later. She's like, I'm going to take one. And she texted me and she goes, wait. And this is everybody's reaction. Wait, what is that? what did you give me? Why is it working like that? Why am I so clear? Why do I have energy? I
Wow.
didn't think I could do anything. And I know that Wendy had like a spurt of, I'm going to clean my whole house.
Yeah.
That happens to me as well. Or if you go to work out, all of a sudden you're not just working out 30 minutes, you're working out 2 hours. You don't even realize it. Things
Wow.
for students, it's great for brain fog. It's great for ADHD. And that's just one piece to the puzzle. But those neurotransmitters for mood and for how you feel every single day, procrastination, that comes from gut health. So again, we're back to, if you are having toxicity or you're having brain fog, you have to regenerate and rebuild your body too. So everything that you heard me talk about Dr. Ram. She's in the car. I get to talk to this bioscience engineer, right? And everything she formulates, she's a scientific formulator, and everything she formulates is able to be stacked together. So biohacking by stacking is what I love to say. It is not, I'm going to take a vitamin C from this company and a vitamin D from this company, and I'm going to try to figure out how those work together and how much do I take and what do I need to take it with. Everything she creates is meant to work together simultaneously with an aspect of detoxification
So
and an
bios
aspect of rebuilding.
so biostacking, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. I just visualize where it's just more beneficial. It's actually supplements and products that actually enhance each other versus singularly taking.
Correct.
There's there's something to all of that, because if I as I've dabbled with the IVs and so many different things,
Mhm.
certain even latest listeners, and I haven't even talked about this, when I injured my arm and it's still recovering, the quickest thing, I actually started using DMSO, but I started using that in front of the red light. So I would apply that stuff and then go into the red light, and I know together it's 10 times more, let's say, effective. I mean, who can really put a percentage, but
Mhm.
it was stagnant. My healing was stagnant, and this really ramped it up. So there's combinations for certain individuals at certain times to really hone in
Right.
on that combination for them could be revolutionary.
Right. And so what makes all of this so special is actually the scientific formulator. So her name is Dr. Christina Rahm.
Okay.
She's more than just a scientific formulator. She's a bioscience engineer. She has a PhD, PsyD, EDD, master's in science and nanobiotechnology. And then she went back and got her MD because she was criticized for not having that, which I always think is funny. And then
Yeah.
also quantum physicist. So
Wow.
she is a Lyme survivor herself. She has had a brain tumor and a spinal tumor, 3 kinds of skin cancer. She's lost a child to cancer. She had another child born was diagnosed with cancer. And we're not allowed to say cure, treat, prevent, heal, mitigate, anything like that. So I'm not, but she doesn't anymore. And so
Wow.
she did, and now she doesn't. So you can do that math on your own. And so she created these formulas for herself because she actually was a scientific formulator or a scientist at Pfizer, Biogenidec, Alexa,
Wow.
Bristol Myers Squibb, Johnson and Johnson. She worked on monoclonal antibodies, the Hep C vax, the HIV vax. She worked on all of these different technologies. And it was when she was in a bioscience engineer certification that it was she and 19 other people, and she was starting to learn the technology, and it turns out it was the technology of what they put into people 4 years ago. And there's only 19 bioscience engineers that have this information, and she's one of them. And of those 19, she is the one and only who used that to reverse engineer what they put in and use it for good. There's a lot of quantum technology and a lot of frequency that's put into what was put in 4 years ago. And she uses quantum frequency, polarization, and magnet to counteract that within the detoxification. She has a patient registry, a International Science Nutrition Society, where all of her case studies are done. She puts on a scientific presentation for the whole community every single week. She has a
Wow.
doctor call. So if there are any providers watching, we have the ability to connect you with her on a monthly call where you can come and learn about all of her protocols and what you can use for your clients and patients. And if you're the individual that's out there watching and you're like, well, I've tried every supplement in the world. So I wish I could see everybody. Put your hand up if you think you've tried everything. You've spent thousands of dollars. You tried everything.
Not everything, but a lot.
Tried everything.
Pretty much,
It
yeah.
didn't work. How is this different? Thanks very much. I'm looking at the ingredients, but it seems so like that's great. There's some vitamin C, there's some minerals. That doesn't seem like anything. It's very hard to label all of the quantum aspects and all of the technology that's put into this. So the detoxification alone is bioavailable silica, vitamin C, so that it goes into not only to the cell binding site, but intracellularly. Trace minerals to support those cells so that they don't collapse in on itself. Because, by the way, that is what I did with my daughter. I was using a plain zeolite. This would have been 4 or 5 years ago. I was using a plain zeolite for her, creating more autoimmune in her and in myself so we were doing more harm than good. And then again, the polarization, magnets, the quantum frequency. So as much as it looks like, oh, there's this like little bottle, it doesn't look like anything fancy or exciting. You have to get to know the scientist behind it, because that will tell you everything. You watch one presentation she does, and she had a prophetic word spoken over her that she would be an Esther for such a time as this.
Wow.
And so when you hear her talk, and it reminds me of when Wendy said, I walked in and like, I found my tribe. You can just feel the energy. You feel her positivity, her light, her love, her hope. And she's working globally to help the world. So she goes to different countries and she works with presidents and governments, and she speaks at these very high scientific presentations and communities. But she has put it out to the community so that each person has access to it now. So I am going to just pause real quick. And if you are jumping on to Google and looking up the root brands, please know that you need a referral code to register your account. And that referral code is UNMUZZLED chat, all one word. We're going to put it right there. Yep. UNMUZZLED chat, all one word, in the referral code box at checkout. And I want to say why. Dr. Ram felt strongly that every single person needs a community when you are trying to heal. You need community support. That referral code connects you to our community. And our community offers an ebook with tips and tricks on how to get started, a Facebook group called TheDetoxGirls. That's the one that's grown to over 16,000. You can join. It will ask you who invited you. Please put UNMUZZLED chat. Please put James' name so that we know who to refer you back to. We give you all of the education and guidance and support that you need. So by using the referral code, it is simply a way to connect you to our community so that you don't feel alone. You have a place for questions. So I always ask, please make sure you're using that at checkout.
And the link is conveniently put in the description below, folks.
Yes,
and it will be put in the description below when we upload to all the podcast apps. So the audio versions alone will also have that just in the description below. Make it really easy for you. Now, I'm really glad you brought up your daughter, and that warms my heart, because the floodgates have opened, and on the free speech platforms, you'd have to be blind, deaf, dumb, to not see what is taking place. And there is illness on the chronic level impacting our littles like never before. And we got to get the jump on this as soon as possible. Honing in on what is causing these things, but ultimately things that will bring life back to our littles. So I'm really glad to hear that, you even have your own experience with your daughter regarding this. It speaks wonders, because even some of the top doctors, naturopathic, very well decorated individuals, really don't dive into pediatrics. They got their hands full with the adult side of things. And I don't know, in the medical field, there must be more legalities and hoops to jump through to get things approved for the littles. So that just says more holistic, natural remedies. And I even have some people in mind, and it's sad to say, But if we're really observant to, all the other families or loved ones, our own family, uh, there has been an uptick in
Mhm.
things we've never experienced before. So that is very important, and I'm very excited to hear that. So
Yeah.
I'd imagine you probably, through the webpage, things like that, even have more testimonials regarding children and adults.
Yeah. So okay. So to your point, why is it harder to help the children? Well, because regulation says you have to label everything for adult use only, under 18, consult your doctor. It's
Mm,
this fear tactic, right? It's required to be labeled as such. So when it comes to what can we give our children? So of these natural products, what can we give our children? So I'm grateful to say, so you said about my daughter, and I laugh because my daughter is not little. My daughter is a full grown adult, married
okay.
with child. So I'm actually a grandmother, and so my daughter, it was my daughter that was vaccine injured. It was my daughter that had high
Mm,
copper toxicity. It was my daughter that had severe inflammation, which turned into severe food allergies,
mhm,
which turned into a multitude of different ailments, autoimmune and thyroid issues and infertility and all of these things. She was, told by 3 different endocrinologists, reproductive endocrinologists, when you're ready for infertility, you come back. Wait. So as mom, I was like, wait, no, wait, you want me to just wait? Why is that? Why do we see that as healthcare?
Right.
Why are we okay with saying just come back in 6 months
okay.
or a year or with no plan in place? I'm okay with coming back if I
Right.
have a plan. This is your plan. We're going to try this. Let's monitor you back in 6 months and see how much progress we made. That sounds great.
This is our health. This is our life. This is our
Right,
function. Let's not accept the
right,
unacceptable. I like
right.
that.
So let's not sit back and play the waiting game. If you want, you have to take your health into your own hands. I had to take my kids' health into my own hands. And then I see people every day doing it. My mission is to empower individuals.
Mm,
So it can't be about what Jill says to take. My mission is I will give you all of the educational tools you need. If you, within that support group, remember we said about having a community to ask questions to, I'm happy to match things up. If you have X, Y, and Z symptoms, I can tell you what products will match those up. Then we can look at them, and then you can make your decision on where to start and where to go from that point. But it is my goal to empower individuals, because we forget that we have this intuitive nature. We want something on the external to fix us. We want someone externally to tell us what to take. We've been programmed for that. Take one pill every 4 to 6 hours as needed for pain for the rest of your life. Here's your 3 months, your 3 month supply and your 90-day refills. And that's not medicine. What is
Mhm.
the root cause? How can we step back? What is causing the inflammation? What is causing the symptoms? What is causing your illness and disease? Why is your body not able to fight off those parasites, viruses, bacteria, heavy metals? Why can't you? Okay, so let's eradicate those toxins out. Let's come back in and strengthen and rebuild your body.
the
Why?
Exactly.
why, folks, the why.
Why with curiosity,
Mm,
right?
Right.
mhm.
And
Right.
even from my standpoint, like I literally became the expert of every cell in my body. I know genetically how I'm built, but at the end of the day,
It's
it's
tough.
I just got to pull all the stuff out. And that's what I've been doing for years, right? I've changed my mindset, I've changed my nutrition, I've changed my lifestyle, I've changed my environment, I've changed all of these things, and it's been a journey to get here, but I was not balancing it right. And that's where these products are balancing, and I feel it. I feel it. If anyone watches the videos from prior to now, like it shows in my hair. I have less even gray hair, and I have just like it's I can feel it in my guts. And I was told a year and a half ago that because I had surgeries in my 20s, because that's all I knew, I didn't know any different because I trusted the white coats, as you call them, right? I worked in medical records. I had access to doctors. And, Jill and I were talking and she's like, yeah, but if you saw a surgeon, of course, they're going to recommend surgery. I'm like, I know now as an adult, but as a 20-year-old woman, living on my own, like I just wanted to feel better. So, but my GI doctor said, well, maybe this is just how your body's working now because of the surgery. And I'm like, but why? Is it a function issue because of the surgery? Is it a mineral issue? Like nobody wanted to address my anemia or my rare anemia that is genetically possible to onset as an adult if the environment is in the right state. Well, I live in Beaver County. There's the Shell Cracker plant has amazing resources for our community, but at the same time, they've been paying millions out because they're having issues and there's toxins leaking out in the environment. So it's like, well, yeah, I very well could be expressing that way because of my environment, but I had to my entire life and more importantly, the last 6 years, like, look at my fingernails, like those ridges, you tell me those are indications of anemia. Well, what are you going to talk about my anemia and my B12 and how my B12 normal is not normal? And we know that genetically because I don't process it correctly. So, there's all these things like, if we're allowed to say, there are a lot of things they could be doing differently to get us healthier faster.
Right.
Could be testing our vitamins and minerals. They should be testing our whole B12, B6, B9, B3. They should be testing that. We should be avoiding folic acid in our fortified food because so many Americans, whatever the percentage, 40, 50, 80, I hear different numbers, but, most of us are getting overburdened by food and then we don't want to eat. And then we're trying to eat good food and we say, well, I can't eat a salad. It makes me sick. Well, no, it's because you had donuts for breakfast and your stomach doesn't really know what to do now with the salad. Or you have a sensitivity to oxalates like me and you need arugula instead of spinach. So, sometimes it feels overwhelming to have all these things, but at the end of the day, we have to listen to our body. What is our body telling us? Not what the doctor's telling you or not what Google's telling you or not what your friend's telling you. Their experience is because we each have a different experience. We should talk, we should share our symptoms, but we have to have that gut feeling, if you will, on, all right, what's my body saying to me today? But more importantly, we have to cut the noise out to give ourselves space to have that conversation.
That overburden you touched on is hitting a nail on the head. That's so crucial. Even with full function, at this stage, at this point, to hone in and continue maintaining health is a full-time job in and of itself. That's where I like what Jill was touching on and how Dr. Ram has built out all of this to build community, because it does take a community. And hopefully through that community, upping our health can address futuristically the real causes of everything. That being said, Jill, we've lost your screen share. If you want to drive, I mean, if you got other things to touch on, I can't wait to dive into some of the actual products.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so there we go.
There we go.
Can
We'll
you
just
see my
add that
screen?
in. Oh, we might as well kick off the Christmas stands. Look at that.
I love it.
Look at that. Wow.
So yeah, so I love this so much. So Dr. Ram has created formulas that, first of all, they will end up saving you money. They are so effective, right, Wendy? Like we were just talking about that because she's only using, I think maybe 2 drops of Clean Slate. And the full dose is 10 drops twice a day. So imagine the effectiveness, how long this lasts you. So I always say to people, you can go people don't think twice about jumping onto Amazon and buying $25 here and $25 here and $25 here. But if you went back and saw what you spent throughout the year, you would save money by having something that is more bioavailable. You're not literally flushing it down the toilet. It's meant to work together. It's all formulated to work together. So my favorite is to come here and go to the shop and go to wellness. And so actually, if it's okay, real quick, I am just going to show everybody here, right here, when you register, please and thank you. You need to have that right there. Right here is this referral code. Please double check that whenever you are checking out. Okay, so here's the wellness. And right here are the 3 foundational products. And there is a bundle called the Trinity that you can get. It's further down. But Clean Slate are the detoxification drops. That was the bioavailable silica, trace minerals, vitamin C, and again, the quantum frequencies, polarization, magnets. And this is the one that was developed to reverse engineer what was put in 4 years ago for people. So it is completely unique. When people say, can you compare this to anything else? I can't, because it is in a class of its own. And once you get to understand Dr. Ram, you'll understand why it is in a class of its own. The middle one here is Zero In, which is a capsule. And this was the little golden capsule of happiness that Wendy was talking about. Hers actually showed up. I had given her some, but her order showed up an hour before this show.
Wow.
She's like, wait, my doorbell just rang. I think it's my Zero In. And so she was able to, before
it's
life-changing.
Yeah.
It's
Christmas,
so
I only take a half.
Christmas continued for Wendy this morning.
It did, and I only take a half because the first one got me a little bit too excited. So I know now, because of listening to my body, I take a half, and I am in this just really calm place, and I know that I've studied it. So I've done the research on the genetic part, right? Like I know that I have a serotonin issue. I know I have some dopamine issues, but I know once I have that dopamine, it stays a little bit longer. So of course, having a supplement that helps balance my neurotransmitter makes me calm and balanced and be able to really function. So, you know, I did the Trinity because I know enough, and I've done all of the other work to get myself to this point. So, you know, I feel like every protocol that I've done. So I started my first protocol in, I think, 2017, and this is my 9th protocol for treating Lyme or co-infections, and you know, all the fun things that go along with it. But I felt better in a day and in weeks. And do I have some bad times? I do, because I'm killing the bacteria. The bacteria has to come out. The toxins have to come out. I know there's parasites. I know there's mold. I know there's toxins from where I live. I know that has to come out, but I can give myself grace to know that this is healing because I've been through it before. But like Jill said, it's this hitting it from all sides. And people ask me all the time, well, do you believe you should do the molds first? And then you do the parasites, and then you do and I always have said no. Why? No, because they all are connected. The Trinity is hitting my gut, and I can feel it in my brain. And this with the neurotransmitters, again, I feel that in my brain, and you know, the other products. So, you know, it's just this coming from nature and coming from someone who experienced Lyme, and then coming from my background as I was the photographer who was that bedridden person. Like, I think, man, I would have saved so much time and money and energy had I known about this, you know, my first protocol, let alone my 5th protocol or my 7th or 8th protocol.
Really believe, because I mean, we got people with long haulers, all sorts of illnesses, chronic, that we've never seen before, but especially within the Lyme community. And we know that is being so underreported. There's some Lyme literate doctors out there stating they would be surprised if more Americans didn't have Lyme than had Lyme if we upped to effective testing and everyone got properly tested. They genuinely feel more Americans more than likely have it than don't. What?
Well, and same with MTHFR, so which is epigenetic. So I see so many people, and I say this with love because this was me 5 or 6 years ago. Oh my gosh, I have MTHFR. I have MTHFR. I'm so worried. I have MTHFR. Okay, calm. That's just a gene that we all have. It's expressing negatively because of your toxicity and deficiency. Once we address those, that MTHFR will reel back in, and your body needs assistance in the detoxification mode. It also needs strengthening and resilience and rebuilding. So if you have MTHFR and that feels worrisome to you, take a step back, take a breath, and know that we need to assist the body in detoxification, assist all of the organs in eradicating those toxins out, rebuilding, remodeling, re-strengthening the body. And I promise you, I'm not allowed to promise, I can, we have overcome it.
Can you pinky swear?
Yeah.
Pinky swear?
I have faith that you can too. If you are invested in the protocol, which the protocol encompasses the whole body, detoxification plus eradication, cellular health, organ health, gut health, immune health, digestive health, it encompasses everything. And when Wendy was saying, people were asking, do I take care of the mold first, or do I, take care of the fungus first, or the parasites first? All of them. When you want to lose weight, when you want to strengthen your body, and you might have arm day and leg day, but you're going to do cardio and you're going to exercise the whole body. We need to detoxify the whole body and then strengthen the whole body. There is no which comes first, the chicken or the egg. Eradicate those toxins out at a cellular level. Heal, restore the gut, get those neurotransmitters firing. I love when you guys were both saying firing at all cylinders, because that's literally in the description of Zero In. Gets you firing on all cylinders. And so Zero In is amazing for cognitive function, brain fog, ADHD. If you have ADHD, this is a must. Start with this over everything else. It's a must. It is required for anyone with ADHD. It will change your life. And then over here is Restore, these little packets. You get 15 in a box, and you can take a half per day, and that'll get you through 30 days. It is so packed full of really concentrated, turmeric, curcuminoids, black seed oil, resveratrol, apple cider vinegar, aloe vera, D-ribose. It's really powerful. You only need a little bit. That's the other thing. You only need a little bit for it to be effective. It drives me crazy when people are like, 72, I take 72 pills a day. And I'm like, oh, I don't think that's working.
Right. Something's not right there. Let's
go.
So,
and then I do ask people, because I had 6 drawers of supplements myself. I called it my supplement graveyard. My daughter and I laugh about it now. But she had 6 drawers of things, and we dumped them all. I'm not saying that you should dump them all. I'm cognizant of the financial aspect of all of this, right? But what I will say is, as you run out of things, stop rebuying the cheap things, because they're probably not working, and invest in a more effective, something that has the catalyst, the cofactors, that works together, that is all from one scientific formulator, that is created to work together. So I wanted to show everybody here. So this is the Trinity Plus pack. This is Clean Slate. So a bottle of Clean Slate, a box of Zero In, there's 60, and 2 boxes of Restore. Dr. Rom did do her own protocol called the Dr. Rom pack, and it's what I just described, the Trinity Plus Relive Greens, which is the greens, concentrated greens that she made for her own cancer. It is super concentrated. Normally you have greens in a great big jug and you need 3 or 4 scoops. This comes in a small bottle because you only need 1/3 to 1 teaspoon. You can take up to, as much as you want, depending on your situation. It is great as a meal replacement. It doesn't break a fast, or it can be added nutrition because our soil is so depleted. So our vegetables are so depleted, but this is really highly concentrated nutrition. Wow. And then there's I'm not going to go into all the other things, but I just wanted everybody to know that the bundles are there if you want to bundle it up. And then the other thing I'm just going to point out right here, you can add to cart. That's a one-time purchase, but I highly recommend right here, the subscribe and save. It is free to sign up, and you can cancel anytime. What I love about this company is there are no strings attached on anything. There's literally, you're going to be like, wait, are you sure that's free? Are you sure that's free? Or yes, I'm sure. So free to sign up. You can change the products month to month. So if you want to start out with Clean Slate this month and stay budget friendly, put it on subscribe and save. Before your order goes out in 30 days, change it over to, do you have more cognitive function? Change it to zero in. Do you have more gut health issues? Change it to restore. Then you update that, and that's what you get the following month. Every 4 monthly orders that go out, they give you back reward points. So $50 minimum, $100 depending on how much you order. And then you get free shipping. So you pay for shipping on the first order, but it's free shipping every monthly order after that, plus 2 in between in case you run out of something. Plus, if something happens and you want to cancel, it's free to cancel. So it's everything. This company is extremely generous. And then because you saw the UNMUZZLED chat referral code that we talked about, when you create your own free account is free to sign up. As soon as you do that, you get a referral code to share as well. You can share with your friends and family. So if you're like Wendy and you're taking zero in and 2 days later, you're like, I need to tell the world about this. You will have your own referral code, and then you can earn some product credit back. They really try to make it so you get rewards points back if you're invested in your health. You get credits back for sharing. They didn't do any marketing. I'm going to stop my share. They didn't do like a marketing program. They decided to put their money where their mouth is. If it works, people will tell each other and we will be successful. If it doesn't work, people won't share it and we'll fail. And we're coming up on year 4. And I would say that it's a success. It's working. People are sharing. We have doctors and health providers and chiropractors and health coaches and naturopaths. We have people that are making this their protocol for their patients. They're getting better outcomes with their patients. They're saving them money. They're teaching them how that they can share and earn credit back. It's just a very generous company.
Wow. Well, I can't wait to move things around myself and try that Trinity. And, we can only do what we could do budget wise, right? That's where I really do want is to a collective address these issues. It would be awesome to stop all the poisoning and then just be at a place. Then it's more so things like this aren't Band-Aid. Now it's just like we need things like this, to potentially enhance and get back to a normal state. Let's not accept a unacceptable diminished state. And it's interesting. Evil has found really amazing combination of things that the attack itself is diminishing our ability to even acknowledge the attack. And there's so many different ways we could articulate and paint. Ultimately, at the end of the day, we just want to see the best version of you. We need the best version of you. There's so many other things that we could, spend our time enhancing for our children and the world around us, our society, our communities. And that, in my eyes, we're now fulfilling the purpose or God's purpose for us. And it's just crucial. It goes hand in hand, just even with our relation with Him. And I love the topic. I mean, just post Christmas, we're still in it, right? Going into the new year. Good riddance 2024. I'm excited. I know there's going to be greater challenges that come, and health challenges 2025. Look at the World Economic Forum. Look at all these elitists. Look at all these rulers, right? They've been warning it for so long and setting the stage for worse things. And when we stop accepting being sick, you can see the infrastructure. Like Big Pharma has proven to us that it is, yes, it's in the business of making money, but not only money. It's in the business of not breathing health. It's using all the language as though it's health and wellness. But think of any pharmaceutical product. It comes with a slew of they call side effects. Side effects is a psychological, like their manipulation of words, because they've proven to put a label under their side effects. This is a poisonous effect. It's a proven negative outcome, but they're spoon feeding us a manipulation of side effects to where we're willing to accept a poisonous effect on a product just to hope it moves the needle in a positive way. We got to scratch all of that. Stop We got to stop the programming, the brainwashing, everything that's taken place up to this point in our lives and actually and that's why I'm so grateful you're touching on the energy of these individuals and their hearts and what they're all about. Sure, could society maybe, oh, red flag company like this, it seems pyramid-esque, or no, look at the origins, look at the way it's providing, and I see very reasonable prices here. I could only imagine the markups they would need to do as a potential company to provide these solutions with $1 million marketing ad campaigns. These products simply would have to be double, triple the price.
Right.
So it's providing us the most holistic, potentially just products to, so it's just worth, in my eyes, trying things to this nature. It's striking all the boxes that I need to properly vet companies to implement them myself. So I look forward futuristically to share my own testimony as to whether I'm just on fire for them or not. But ultimately, I look forward to sharing my own testimony. And I challenge any of you that try these root products, reach out to unmuzzledchat@gmail.com. I would love to hear from you directly. Dare we even kick off a futuristic episode so you could bear your own testimony about it? And then we'll use your link. And whether it's good or bad, we'll have you come on. It's important. Just because it's maybe necessarily not moving the needle for one individual doesn't mean it won't for others. But I do know with the technological advances, with the awakening that has happened within a good amount of individuals tapped into the science community, the doctor community, and Dr. Ram is very well decorated. I had no idea all everything she's done. And yes, the MD, that is laughable because that's more an indoctrinated title than the really not teaching nutrition at all with that label like we would think. It's all big pharma, big pharma, big pharma. You could just now see when you really dissect the whole industry that it's their benefit to infiltrate those indoctrination centers to support that business model. Like, it's just so clear. And there is a deeper rooted agenda, and that is clear. And that's the blessing of this era. There is this awakening, and I get it's tough to come to terms with the reality, but we're to challenge ourselves. It doesn't do us any good to stick our fingers in our ear and make loud noises with our mouths and not listen to what you two are bringing forward and genuinely consider and look into it. I believe there's a whole bunch of testimonials and more information to even obtain on that webpage, right?
Right. So the Facebook group is called the Detox Girls. There are membership questions to get in. So when it says who invited you, please put either Unmuzzled Chat or James's name. Either one is fine. And come in, start looking through the group. Feel free to comment on any post out there. We have guides that are all organized. It talks about each product. You can use the search bar and find, I mean, we've been doing this for 5 years. We've had weekly calls and educational videos for 5 years. I beg to find you. I ask you to find some topic we haven't covered and let us know, because we'll cover it this year. But we have used the word outcomes in the search bar, and you will read outcome after outcome after outcome. And this is just the community that we can get them to write in, right? So we have a lot of people that when they feel better, they kind of fall off from us because they're feeling better. They're off living their life, and they forget to come back and be like, hey, I wanted to share with your community where I've come from and how I'm doing. So if you're watching this and you're part of the Detox Girls already, come back in and share your outcome with us, because the more the better. But yeah, we're here to answer questions, and we have so many layers of support. That's the whole, that was Dr. Ram's whole premise behind the referral code, was to make sure everyone has a way to get support. So the Detox Girls on Facebook. If you have questions, like, oh, I'm not even sure what to order, that was great, I forgot the referral code, look down in the comments. If you can't find it there, the Detox Girls at Gmail, the Detox Girls, plural at the end, at Gmail. Shoot me an email, put in the subject line Unmuzzled Chat, so I know where you came from, so I know how to guide you. I will help you match up what you're trying to achieve, your goals on what to achieve with what would work best for that scenario.
I love it. I appreciate you ladies so much. I mean, right here, connect and support Wendy. There's a personal link with all the amazing things she's also tapped into, fighting on behalf of women and Lyme as a whole, and just you're doing more than I could even list off. Let's be honest, Wendy. But I love connecting with her because she's so tapped into things. And then she included her own email. Jill included an email. We should get that Facebook link to this Detox Girls you guys are talking about, and we'll add that in here below. But it's just simple. Do I have?
They should be in your Facebook Messenger, but
right.
and I just want to say while you're kind of in there is some of the things that Jill and I are working on is, so in my role in genetics, so I can analyze reports. I've been blessed to work with patients that have used all these companies. So I put all those things together. But then as a functional nutrition and functional genomics, so I really was looking for something that was nutrition based, but I knew genetically. So I personally am able to fine tune my protocol with Jill based on my genetics. So if people have their genetics, I can analyze and say, hey, look, this is what's going to working. Or more importantly, if there are Lyme patients out there right now that are in all these pharmaceutical treatments, we can run testing to see if those inserts of, worst case things would affect you or not. Pharmacogenetics, we were not allowed in the genetic world to provide that data. The FDA has since allowed that. So I can run a report for you. If you have 23andMe, if you have your genetics, if you have your raw data, I can analyze for you to tell you if pharmaceuticals are working or not. And then you could take that information to your doctor, fine tune if are on pharmaceuticals, or if you realize, hey, you're like me, my kidneys do it too fast, my liver does it too slow, my symptoms that were lingering was actually my liver failing on me. So we can see those things and we can guide and say, hey, look, this is the product at root that's going to work the best for you based on where your body is or your symptoms, where you're at. So, we have all these people want to talk about the science, but it's like, well, we do have the science, and it's not. I know sometimes there feels like a financial piece or a financial burden, but I know all of us have spent so much money on copays and doctors and specialists and lab and this and that. But it's like, we don't need to have all these testing. We could use the Chronometer app for free, and we could find out from our food if we take the time to track it. Oh, I am eating too much oxalates. Oh, I have a high sensitivity of oxalates. I need to pull those out. So there are all these things out there, but we get conditioned, like you said, to think that, going to the doctor is the answer and being put on medication is the answer. No, it's taking the time for ourselves to evaluate where we're at. There are genetic testing. It's $400 or less in some places. And some doctors and insurance will cover one test. But if we look at one test, that's just like checking for Lyme disease. If you're not checking for co-infections or you're not checking for vitamin or mineral deficiencies, you're not actually addressing the root problem, and you're not going to fix it. So there are all of these things that are out there, but it's like, well, one, we weren't allowed to talk about them before, but now it's like, people get concerned on who do you trust? Who do you trust? There's all these companies out there. I did not get a 23andMe for 2 years, or I sat on it. I wish I would have done the test sooner because of what I found out, because of where I'm at in my career. I would have been able to help other people sooner. I would have been able to help myself and my son sooner, but I was afraid of security. Do I think 23andMe's got rid of my data? Yeah, probably. But I've had a child, I've given blood, I've had other sources. So if, who knows, everyone says they've met me, and it's a beautiful, compliment. They're like, oh, I met you before. And I'm like, no. And, now I joke that maybe there is somebody else that looks like me, but, the companies that I work for, they are medical companies. We take HSA, we take FSA, we follow HIPAA guidelines, we follow all of the rules and regulations put in the medical field. So I do work with DNA remote clinics. So, if you are nervous about having those testing, maybe not those third-party commercial ones that are going to give you a little data that's not really important. There are companies out there, Self-Decode, you can go in and analyze your data yourself and start making changes to pull the toxins out. If you know your body's having a hard time detoxing, then hey, here's some holistic ideas like the sauna or, different foods to add in. So there are all of these companies out there. If we want to take control of our health, we can do that. But it's that realization that I had in 2018 that I was the only one that was going to save myself. My doctors didn't care. My friends and family were supportive, but they did not understand. Nobody knew but me. Nobody experienced every day but me what it was like to be in my body. And I had to come to that realization of it has to be you. And then since then, here we are now, not a bedridden photographer, now working in functional genomics and working with other professionals and doctors and trying these like life-saving supplements. And it's, people in the Lyme community, I say it every podcast and I will always say it, is you have to have hope. If you don't have hope that you can heal, if you don't have that mindset that you can heal, you won't. Your cells listen, your body listens, your heart listens, your soul listens. So that has to be the step one, is that I can heal. I want to come on and be hope and inspiration that people can heal. Like I'm getting ready to, repurpose a reel that hit 500,000 because I had tremors, and I want to reach out to those people to show them where I am now, because I am flourishing. I am feeling good. But my doctors would say, you're never going to heal, or it's going to take 4 years, or, we don't really know what's going on. Here's some pain medicine. No, that's not what I want for me. That's not how I'm built. And it's not the life that I want to live.
Wow. I so badly want to reach out to those that are in that place and have lost hope, that have spent all the money that they can and don't have the proper support or what. Guys, it's not lost. There's amazing companies and doctors stepping forward with groundbreaking things. I was thoroughly impressed with Unchained Wellness Clinic right here. Didn't even know till I researched and started looking out. And so they're just aligning with the owner Mason there, and how they have the cold plunge, the infrared sauna, the red light therapies, IV treatments, hyperbaric oxygen. They're really getting to the biohacking side of it all. But even their technological equipment, I don't even understand it all, but I was thoroughly impressed with their AO scan. And that brought up so much data, like thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars worth of blood work right there. And I'd venture to say it probably has a lot of that information. I should go through it and see if it is a replacement to this genetic testing. And what's this?
That's the AO scan. I have that.
You do?
I do have that.
What are your thoughts? Because what blew me away was it nailed everything currently, just right to the T, Lyme and everything, which is a very tough one.
Yeah, so it has it has 7 major features. I think there's actually an 8th now. It does everything from inner voice, which is your emotional health, at a cellular level, to vitals, which is similar to blood work. And I think there's 600 indicators there. It does human toxicities and thyroid and gut and food sensitivities. It does Lyme, bacteria, mold, fungus, all of that. It does body systems. It does comprehensive. It runs subtle energy frequencies that you can do a customized list, or you can do it, you can run it and it will pick for you. It's a great tool. I do love that. So last week, Wendy mentioned that we all canceled for something. In my family, we had an illness going through. It was just, and that happened to be my day. But every single day I would just scan each one of us, and it's unlimited scans. There's a software fee, but it's unlimited scans. So you can scan everybody every day. And it was a great tool to be able to hone in and kind of see what was going on energetically, frequency right there.
Yeah, it's instant.
It's all quantum energy. And
Wow.
I know for some people that feels actually, all of this probably feels very daunting and overwhelming. And I do want to say, please don't feel overwhelmed. Reach out to one of us. We can simplify it. It is easy. But from a quantum aspect, when people don't understand like quantum frequency when it comes to the AO scan, you have to remember that if I picked up my phone and I dialed Wendy's number, only one phone would ring. It's hers. That's quantum entanglement. That's quantum. We understand that those of us that used to use the AM FM radio, that you could, it would be staticky and you would just tune it in. That's frequency. So we understand frequency from other things, but we have trouble remembering that we are energetic beings, that we are frequency, and we can change. So when I say that this has quantum frequency in it, polarization and magnets, this is quantum also. Clean slate is quantum also. So it cuts off the cellular communication of those bad cells from the good cells. Bad cells being cell degradation is cancer. So this has the technology to encapsulate or to cut off the communication from the cells so that the bad cells cannot get the good cells. So we are getting rid of the bad cells out of the body and we are proliferating the good cells in the body.
And I want to share, she did a scan for me, and it's something that had been on my list to do because I use a Rife machine. I appreciate the technology. I use sound, I use frequency every night to sleep for the past 3 years. So that is something that I've been in my holistic, we look at neuroscience and different things. So when she did the scan, I was just like, okay, well, yes. And I was given 4 sounds, tones. I don't know the proper definition to listen. And I was in a state. I was ready. I was calm. I had my body relaxed. I was ready to experience it. And it was one of those things, like I wasn't prepared. I wish I would have like videoed it. And I'm still getting used to kind of sharing on video. As a photographer, I'm behind the camera, so it's a new thing for me. But one of them, like, I just started to cry, and I've worked with some coaches. I've worked with some things on that kind of subconscious things, and I've had those kind of sensations before, and I'm the person that music can bring me to tears, and I know that it's the frequency, and I felt that before. But one of them, like, I started to cry, but I wasn't sad, but I knew that there was a release from the cells in my body. And then one of them, like, I just started to laugh, like it made me feel really good. And I texted Jill, I'm like, am I supposed to, is it normal to have these like actual responses? And she's like, yeah, some people do. And like the first time I was at my current chiropractor, Dr. Dan, he did nobody knew for a year and a half after a car accident that I had cervical cranial instability. Again, something I knew, I researched, I knew I was hypermobile. I knew I had a chance of it. And, he did a motion x-ray to see that when I turned my head a certain way, I was cutting off my spinal cord. So that's why I had headaches for 2 years. But the first adjustment he did on my occipital, my 1 and 2, like, I just started to cry. But I felt the warmth and the tingle, and I felt that, oh my gosh, my circuits were finally working in my body. So I had to learn to embrace those kind of shocks in my system. But I know that that's my body telling me that I'm alive, and that I am electrical, and that I am, water, because I need to drink more water every day to balance that out. But it's these things that once we get so sucked into, okay, well, I'm just a person and I have to go eat and I have to go to work. No, you are this magnificent being that God created, that we have to get back to what serves us and not what served other generations. Like, my family are amazing, right? They grew up on a dairy farm. They had meat and potatoes because they were working on the farm all day. Meat and potatoes don't serve me. They don't serve my heart. They don't serve my gut. They don't serve my brain. They don't serve me. So I have to realize that those things, it's okay. It's okay that I'm eating arugula salad and not, cheesy mashed potatoes, as good as they might taste. So, there's all of these pieces of, we have to be open to, okay, how do we get to the why? And once we get to the why, we know all those other pieces are going to fall into place, but that community. So I know I do free calls for anybody advocating for Lyme. If people are interested in genetics, you can reach out to me. If you want information, from Jill on the Detox. So I kind of do that basic, let's start looking at these kind of things. And then when people are ready, then they can go in Jill's group and they can really start to detox and detox healthy. And then, it's just about that. We don't need to wait until the ball drops on the 31st. We don't need to wait till F25. We don't need to wait to see if the administration does things, because even if they do, they're going to take time. So we have to take our own health today in our own hands.
Yes.
Yeah.
Beautifully said, Wendy. Jill, do you have some burning desires here in closing?
Well, I want to say that I'm looking forward to a patriotic collective. And I think that's where Wendy and I are coming together, especially starting out here in the city of Pittsburgh. I'm so grateful that she's so local. God brought us there.
Mm-hmm.
But it was my post about Make America Healthy Again that brought her to me. And what I was pointing out was, I'm very excited about the new administration. I'm very excited about making America healthy again. But like Wendy just said, that's not going to happen on January 20th. So we can't wait for an external factor to make us healthy again. Today is your day to make you healthy again by being empowered, making your own choices, moving forward, listening to your body, to your own intuitiveness, not looking for that external white coat factor to tell you all the things to do. And if you are seeing a doctor, because I would never tell anybody not to see a doctor, please advocate for your own well-being. Be the team leader. That doctor is part of your team. They are not the leader. You are the leader. That is the piece I was missing as a mom. I knew intuitively, I knew I was right, but I was made to feel like I wasn't worthy of being the leader. I had to sit back and be a participant that just listened and did. And that was a huge fail for me with my own family. So it's something I've learned from. It's something I try to advocate for people or tell them to advocate for themselves. You are the leader. If you are advised to do something at the doctor's, ask questions, take it under advisement, decide for yourself what you're going to do and not do, and how you're going to move forward. And as an ex-medical coder, because during that whole pandemic, it was a vaccine conversation I had with one of the doctors that I left my job over in a 10-second decision. I hung up with him because I tried to get him to understand that he had documented a vaccine injury. And he said, no, he didn't. And I said, yes, you did. I said, it's right here. You documented it. We need to assign the right coding to it, and we need to submit it to VAERS. And he said, what's VAERS? I realized as working for a 65 doctor, multi-specialty practice, if he didn't know what VAERS was, and my daughter was vaccine injured, and I was being threatened to lose my job over not getting the current vaccine, I was losing the battle. I was never going to win the battle. Mm-hmm. And my husband had just left his job December 1st because we were afraid he was up for early retirement, wasn't planning on doing it. He left because he was afraid that his pension was going to be mandated to do certain things to get his pension. So he took early retirement. That's fine. 2 months later, I went out and I said, I have to quit. And he said, I've been waiting. I called my boss and I quit in that moment over the doctor not knowing what VAERS was. It was so emotionally traumatic for me.
Wow.
So be an active participant, play the role, be in charge, work with them, take it under advisement, but you are in charge. So when I say that you're empowered at the doctors, you're also empowered when it comes to this. Be empowered to research what we've talked about. Look at the website. The website is it's a little lackluster with intention. You know they're going to try to shut her down. She's got too much knowledge. They would love to shut her down. A lot of the science is in the scientific website. If you want to get into the scientific website, you let me know. I'll get you in. Email us and ask questions. Come into the Facebook group and look around. reach out and ask. There are hundreds of videos that I've done for education as well as Dr. Rum. I will send you whatever you want. Be an active participant. You have this. You have this. There is hope. We do come from light. We've walked the darkness. We're here to bring light, love, hope, solutions. So many Facebook groups you're in will tell you there's this problem, but they won't give you a solution. So many of the famous doctors that are out there are giving solutions that are very far behind the times. They're not, this is so far advanced medicine, advanced nutraceutical supplement. It's just so far ahead of the game. So take the time. All I ask for you to is freely invest your time into understanding and research. That doesn't cost you anything but a little bit of time. And from there, you get to decide.
What a great example of being present with that doctor. And for all of us, we need to be present in those interactions, even as a patient with our doctor. And that helps us in the vetting process to what this is not a team member that's going to help us win this battle, right? So properly vetting and not just blindly entrusting and being present in these moments will lead us to a team that's going to win no matter what we're faced with, individually or on behalf of someone else. It's crucial to fight back all that programming, all that wiring. It's wild. It's the majority of what we've been spoon fed in this life is nothing but defective programming. It's crazy, but it's an exciting time to accept this, eat some humble pie to your benefit, and admit I've been duped. I've been wrong, because ultimately in doing so, we're going to we're going to hone in and find the things that are right, that are going to benefit us, that are going to help us. Folks, I am so grateful for warriors like Wendy and Jill here, even Dr. Rom, because they're building things out that are going to help us get to address the roots of our issues that are ailing us, breathe light and life back into us. It's just a crucial aspect to this existence. Let's not sit back and accept being sick. All of us, dare I say, the most even functional among us have been diminished to an extent. I mean, look at the war tactics. They cannot hide from all the toxic things that are being put in our water, all the toxic things that are being put in our air. And it's not accidentally being done, it's intentionally being done. The pharmaceutical companies, these big corporations, these world rulers and elitists, there's a big synagogue talked about here in this very Bible, and who's sitting on that throne? We know who's sitting on that throne in this existence. It's time to gain the discernment as to acknowledging, what's coming from what, right? And if it's censored, if it's with a ruling thumb, you gain that discernment. If it's enlightening, it builds hope, connection, community, just all the beautiful things, peace. Then let's start gravitating to what is going to benefit us. Let's not allow these corps, this pharma, to corner the market. Why are they shutting down doctors? Why are they censoring? Why are they trying to diminish and cause all these loopholes where we can't even say, hey, this individual, we can't use a 4-letter cure word regarding anything, but this individual is dealing with cancer, but look at them now. Like, let's flip this world upside right, because it's clearly operating in such a way, it's just making it harder for us all to find that clearer path, especially when we become diminished, when our function. And that's where, through community, let's stop making out individuals to be the roots of their own issues, even in a psychological sense. That's going to lower them. Look at the impact that's going to have. It's going to make their path harder, not easier. And instead, if you acknowledge all the angles of attack, then you can more so speak to them in a way like, this isn't you, but it's impacting you, and it's in you, and we can get it out of you, and we'll get you back. Like, fantastic. So let's start addressing the molds, the toxins, the parasites, the poisons, and just clean things up. So it is important that we make America healthy again and the world healthy again. But in order to get to that phase or that place, I've been humbled and I realize I've been going about it all wrong here on this podcast. We need to up each other's health. That's crucial. In our health, I can testify the single greatest product, the single greatest supplement, medicine, pharmaceutical is none other than seeking our loving creator. And through that, connections like this and things that will actually supplement the body and enhance that, enhancing the spiritual connection, just really raising the path I was on. And it continually, and it's a struggle to stay on that path. Don't get me wrong, but I just want to breathe light into you that great things around the corner, more simplistic. Why are they censoring so hard? It goes to show it all, because people are becoming effective actually breathing health and light back into lives. So help us. It's a communal effort, and we need you. We need the best version of you. Come join the team. Reach out to these amazing women, and let's hone in on the real solutions for us all. I can't wait to get my own products. Wendy, Jill, thank you so much. You have such big hearts. And just know that this platform, I don't know what the future holds for this platform. Let's be real. But it's here at your disposal at any point. And if there's anything I could do or our community could do to help bring light to things that are just going to be beneficial in any which way, be sure to reach out.
I will definitely, because I am going to be working on the Pennsylvania State Bill 100, and I will need some support with that, with some phone calls and advocating. So I will definitely reach out.
Awesome.
Yeah,
I look forward to connecting again.
Yes.
There's so many things we could talk about. Yes.
Always.
Wait, hold on. This is our next topic, if that's okay.
Yes.
I would really like to I would really like to support and celebrate the military next.
Yes.
So if we can talk about that on an upcoming show, that would really warm my heart.
That would be amazing. Well, cue up the communications. We'll gear up for that. We could choose a date, and I'm sure the listeners would look forward. I feel enlightened, more enlightened coming out of this than I did even coming into it. Even with Wendy's amazing text, let's change lives together, and clearly for the better. So love you gals. Love all of you Unmuzzled Chat warriors. Thank you for supporting us. Be sure to check the links down below. Mention, I guess, Unmuzzled Chat during your checkout, and we'll continue to build this community and get to the root of our issues. God bless you all. Thank you. Until next time, take care.
Bye-bye.